Right now, there are over 200 frozen human bodies sitting in steel tanks in Arizona. These people are not considered dead by the company that froze them. They paid up to $200,000 for a single chance to live again. And the organization behind all of this has been running since 1972, with almost no oversight. No government agency fully controls what this company does to human bodies. No scientist on Earth has ever successfully brought a frozen human back to life. And yet, thousands of people around the world have already signed contracts with this company. The organization is called Alcor Life Extension, and their story will shock you completely. Some of the most powerful and wealthy people alive have quietly looked into this exact program. The science behind cryonics is far more advanced and serious than most people ever realize. There are stolen bodies, desperate families, secret freezing operations, and million-dollar lawsuits in this story. This is not science fiction. This is happening right now in a quiet building in Scottsdale, Arizona. And the deeper you go into this story, the more disturbing the truth actually becomes. Because this company does not just freeze dead people and wait around hoping for a miracle.
They have a full biological protocol, a legal team, and a standby crew ready to move fast. The moment a patient is declared legally dead, Alcor's team moves within minutes to begin the process. They cool the body rapidly, replace the blood with a special chemical solution to prevent ice damage. Then, the body is slowly brought down to negative 196 degrees Celsius inside a giant steel tank. And there it stays for decades, possibly centuries, waiting for a future that may never come. If you want to uncover the hidden and shocking truths behind history's most bizarre experiments, subscribe to History Lab right now, because this channel goes where mainstream media refuses to go every single time. Hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss a story like this one. Now, let us get into the full truth behind the company freezing dead people for the future. The idea of cryonics was first seriously proposed by a man named Robert Ettinger back in 1962. He wrote a book called The Prospect of Immortality, and it genuinely changed how some people thought about death. Ettinger believed that death was not a final event, but simply a medical problem waiting to be solved. He argued that future technology would be powerful enough to repair any damage done to the human body. And if you could just preserve the body well enough, you could potentially wake up in that future world. It sounds absolutely insane, but Ettinger was a physics professor, not a random dreamer making wild claims. His ideas attracted scientists, philosophers, and eventually some very wealthy and serious investors worldwide. By 1972, a small group of true believers formally founded what would eventually become Alcor in California. They moved to Arizona later, and that is where their main facility operates to this very day. And here is where it gets really disturbing. Alcor's first cases did not go smoothly at all. Early frozen patients were sometimes thawed out because families ran out of money to pay storage fees. In at least one case, a body was found badly decomposed after improper freezing procedures had completely failed. These early disasters were quietly buried, and the organization kept moving forward despite the horrifying setbacks. The company kept improving their methods, their chemicals, and their legal structure with every passing year. By the 1980s, cryonics was attracting serious scientific debate and significant media attention across America. Critics called it a death cult that preyed on people's fear of dying and their desperate need for hope. Supporters called it the most rational bet a person could make given the rapid pace of scientific progress. And the argument between those two sides has never actually stopped. It is still raging today. Wait, because this next part is something almost nobody talks about openly in mainstream media. Alcor does not wait for you to die naturally and then show up later with a truck and some ice. They have a program where specially trained standby teams travel to wherever a dying member currently is. These teams wait nearby, sometimes for days, as a terminally ill member approaches their final moments. The second legal death is declared, the Alcor team enters the room and immediately begins their cooling protocol. Speed is everything in cryonics, because brain damage from oxygen loss begins within just minutes of cardiac arrest. The faster they act, the better the theoretical chances of preserving meaningful brain structure and stored memories. Some members have had Alcor teams fly internationally to be present at their bedside before death arrived. This level of preparation costs enormous amounts of money and requires years of legal planning and documentation. But for true believers, it is simply the price of having a real shot at living again someday. Now here is where the story gets truly dark and deeply complicated in ways most people never expect. In 2002, a legal battle erupted over the body of baseball legend Ted Williams after his death. His son, John Henry, wanted to have Williams frozen at Alcor, against the wishes of his daughter, Bobby Jo. Bobby Jo insisted her father never wanted to be frozen and had expressed that clearly before he died. The case became a national scandal and put cryonics on the front page of every major American newspaper. A former Alcor employee later came forward with a book containing deeply disturbing allegations about the facility. He claimed that Ted Williams' head had been separated from his body and stored in a separate container. He described scenes inside Alcor that were graphic, disrespectful, and nothing like the company publicly advertised. Alcor denied every single allegation and called the book a dishonest attempt to damage their reputation unfairly. But the damage to public trust was already done, and the questions raised have never been fully answered. And here is the truth that really makes you stop and think hard about what all of this actually means. Cryonics is technically legal in the United States, but it operates in a strange regulatory gray zone completely. Alcor registers its frozen members as patients, not as corpses, which changes how the law treats them entirely. No federal agency directly oversees what happens inside that facility to those bodies stored in those tanks. The entire model depends on the company surviving financially for potentially hundreds of years into the future. If Alcor ever goes bankrupt or simply shuts down, every single one of those frozen people is gone forever. There is no government backup plan, no insurance safety net, and no guarantee of any kind beyond a contract. You are essentially trusting a private company to guard your frozen body until science catches up with your hope. And the people inside those tanks, they made that bet with their life savings and their family's emotions on the line. Honestly, whether you think cryonics is brilliant or completely insane, you cannot ignore what it reveals about us. It reveals how desperately human beings want to survive, how far we will go to cheat death completely. It reveals how science and hope and grief and money can mix together into something truly extraordinary and strange. The story of Alcor is not just about frozen bodies sitting in tanks in the Arizona desert waiting quietly. It is about what happens when human beings refuse to accept the one thing that has always been absolutely certain. And that question, whether death can ever truly be defeated, may define the next century of human history entirely. If this story made you think, made you question, or genuinely shocked you even a little bit today, subscribe to History Lab. This channel exists to tell you the stories that powerful people and mainstream media consistently leave out completely. Drop a comment below and tell us, would you ever sign up to be frozen by a company like Alcor? Hit subscribe, turn on that bell, and we will see you in the next Hidden Truth.